welcome you again to another episode of the Nigerian Theatre Witnesses to History on the Tunde Laniyo podcast. We started the journey going with a witness, Professor Hyginus Ekwuazi, last week. Today he will continue to take us further into the journey of creating the dynamics between filming and academics and training of people to work in that very great area of the theater. Today will take us further into what has been done over the last 30, 40 years so that we can keep in touch with the history of the Nigerian theater through filmmaking. Thank you as you join us on this episode.
The national film policy. So what we then did was to say it's desirable for the country to create a censorship outfit. Since it was said Film Corporation could no longer. That's how the National Film and Video
Censors Board was created.
Yes, it was created. You took away from the NFC the apparatus or the unit which it would have used to make money to sustain
itself.
And there's no other way it can do that. And that argument that was sold to government was very wrong. That it would be wrong for the same institution to produce. It's not wrong. What happens to television? Television produces, censors itself, and screens right into your bedroom. So why
every day?
Yes. So why do you say the Film Corporation cannot do that? Owned by government, that government can directly discipline.
Yeah.
You know, so it was a wrong argument, but government bought that argument and removed censorship from the Film Corporation.
Looking back through the year, exciting time, BC, Daughter of the River. And we saw the creativity, and then for years, we really didn't see any real commercial film on the screen. I would say that was part of why the life of Nigerian film was not going to be anything to write home about.
No, but what happened to BC Daughter of the River? You see, the films that were made at that time, all those celebrity films, they were really killed.
Yeah.
You know? Remember at that time, the Lebanese owned the theaters. And the Lebanese were seriously threatened by the Nigerian industry coming up. I remember that time all the films were being imported. So the industry died, you know. And if you talk to all the filmmakers of that period, they think they didn't make money from their films. All of them. Like the films didn't pay back the money. I remember Abiola was the executive producer of BC Daughter of the River.
Yes.
And he has his fingers burnt. And I remember him saying that he would not venture into filmmaking again. So the climate was not quite ideal for the growth of the Nigerian film at that time. But if you see what is happening today, we have very good productions that will compete with the best of productions anyway. So there has been a growth, you know, in terms of aesthetics, there has been a serious growth. You know, even in terms of the growth of the industry. Before we had an industry where so much happened, you know, upstream. The upstream area of production. Downstream in distribution and exhibition, there was nothing. So there was a bottleneck created.
Have we really developed that area even till date?
No, but it's better now because you see, the industry no longer overheats. Because when there was so much frenetic activity going on there, and the bottleneck was there, the industry was overheating. There was this. Remember when they had to shut down production to distribute what was already
that no
longer happens because multiple streaming platforms have emerged. You know, so it's no longer just the whole video or the whole audience. You have the whole thing to do with the new streaming platforms out there.
Technology has helped.
So there's so many places you can send the film to, and the Nigerian film is traveling. It has traveled out of the country. You know, if you map it at the moment, you see that it has gone virtually everywhere. So the industry is growing. The film itself, and you know what is about the film is technology. It's an industry, but it's also a cultural example. So in all these dimensions, it is actually growing.
Do you think we have moved maybe quite well with the skills available in that industry worldwide? When you look at what comes up out of maybe Americas, Europe, and even maybe India, have we really developed the skills specialization of a lot of people in different sectors creating effects that are mind-blowing?
Oh yes, we have really grown. Nobody said about the value chain of film. He said that
Because we don't hear much about those people.
Oh yes, but so much is being done. From the idea through the script to the screen, we are dealing with 253 different trades and professions. Okay, there is stupendous growth in all those areas.
In terms of your experience, what are the milestones that you've seen, and who do you think are the influential?
To look at the milestones, you have to look at what has happened in the industry generally, at the manpower development structure in the industry. We have schools now that train people in filmmaking. There was a time it was only the NFI, and I started the NFI.
Yeah.
I was the first director. At the time it was only the NFI that was training filmmakers.
Yeah.
But today, we have a lot of institutions graduating. I just graduated my first set at the Pan-African University. I just graduated my first set with the MSc in filmmaking. And you have people coming from everywhere. So already the manpower something is being taken care of. And that will translate into better product, into more professional productions. So we do have such things. For instance, if any day I want to watch Kunle's film, not necessarily that I might have a better filmmaker here, a better film here, but I have a better filmmaker. In the sense that Kunle is one filmmaker who has learned what film is. That film is actually film business. And it's the business before the film.
Yeah.
Filmmaking,
you must be prepared for the business before you start anything.
It's not what most filmmakers used to do in those days was to say, regard the artistic component of film, not the business dimension. Before Kunle will point a camera at, so he already knows where he's going to sell that film. He will already have made some money. That is what film is all about. And we are beginning to get such filmmakers in this our film culture who understand that we are dealing, yes, with visual storytelling, but we're also dealing with business. And they are beginning to take the two. And there are many of them. Isochukwu is there. There are many of them. And they are beginning to do things. And they have younger ones who are emulating them. So the milestones are there.
Right.
Whether you are looking at professionalism, or you are looking at the content for training of filmmakers, or you are looking at the practitioners out there, or actually what they have done out there. Yes, the milestones are there, very visible milestones.
Okay. Because one of the things that one enjoyed with Indian film was not just the environment, but even the core culture of the people that was being marketed. A lot of times, those films were produced in their language. And they quickly mastered the art of doing interpretation, subtitles, and people accepted it. I remember that one of the Nigerian filmmakers submitted a film to meet a specific local communication, and we couldn't even achieve that. Are we constrained by the fact that we have so many languages that we speak in Nigeria?
I'm surprised you talk about Indian films in the obituary terms, because I think it's a very active sort of film. Because look at SeaWorld. And every household people watch SeaWorld and so on. What the Indian film has done is to package the Indian culture very well.
Yes.
And in doing that, what they have done.
Look at Love in Tokyo. You remember how long the singing of Love in Tokyo was in Nigeria?
Yeah. And what they did again was to actually go away from conventional filmmaking styles. I don't know if you've been watching SeaWorld. Watch SeaWorld, let the film run for 30 minutes. I bet you are going to get about, at least, if it runs for 30 minutes, you're going to get 3 soliloquies. And in film schools, you are told to avoid soliloquies.
Yes.
You are going to get 3 soliloquies.
No, that's always been the Indian style.
Good, they made
And
it
they never went away from it.
Yeah, you see, they made it a style. And then take the kind of camera moving. This, what do you call it? Using the artificial camera,
Yes.
zooming in and zooming out. You know, they do that. And these are things that in conventional film education, you are told use them very sparingly.
Very, very sparingly.
They use them. So what they have done, you know, is like, yes, don't do this, but they do because they have a reason to do it, and it has caught on. So what I know is that they have evolved a language of film that is truly Indian. We've not done that yet. We are groping towards it. Ultimately, we will have to evolve a language of filmmaking that is essentially ours. And it will begin with the Yoruba filmmakers, strangely
You
enough.
think so?
Yes, because why I say it will begin with the Yoruba filmmakers is if you watch a Yoruba film and and you say, no, this dialogue is getting too much, and they will turn to you and say it's because you don't understand what is being said. I tell you that the language has layers and layers and layers. So it is deep, meaning that to get the full meaning of the film, you have to get the meaning of the language. That's from where we're going to evolve our own direction of filmmaking.
Does that not take you back to what you just discussed about film still remaining in the realm at the level of content rather than technology?
Yes, technology will help also, but again, you are trying to package your own indigenous outlook.
Because are we doing enough treatment with the Yoruba genre?
That's where I will see an indigenous filmmaking culture springing out of. It will be because you cannot remove the language and let the camera speak. No. The language has to come on, and the camera has to record the language.
What you are saying is key because we must not run away from who we are, from what our culture is. We must not let the way we want to present what we have to be affected just by technology.
Precisely. Look at when Japanese films burst the scene when I first came to the US. People could not understand it. Because you see, the Japanese sit on the tatami mountain. So for them, everything was filmed from about 4 feet. Whereas the West would film from 4 to 6
feet.
And that made a lot of difference. So it was a cultural cutting that the West could not penetrate. But by the time they penetrated,
why are you filming from?
Yes. And then they now say, oh, there's meaning in this. That's what it's going to happen to us. We must begin to see that we can't have a substitute for the language. Because film itself is a substitute for language. But the way the language is, let me take the ritual performances and things like that, and incantations. If you don't get it right, something is wrong. There's no way the camera can substitute for it.
No.
So you see, it is from such reality that an indigenous language of film is going to be born. We don't have it yet, but it's going to come. I agree that when it comes, there will be a lot of experimentation. Take the typical American film. A man is going to talk to a child. What does he do? He stoops down to the level of the child. That's how he talks to the child. You hardly see an American film where the man
is standing on top of the child,
talking down on the child. You hardly get it. But what is our own? A man doesn't take the eye view of the child. The child has to look up to the man. You see, this consciousness will infuse into our own indigenous language of film. So I think the experimentation will come on, it will go on, but gradually we'll get there to know that this is our own. I agree that in film schools we don't teach that really, we should. We still teach the orthodox, how do we now? We still teach the normal method of it.
Right.
But the experimentation will go on.
Talk to me about maybe 2-3 core years of definition in the Nigerian film, videography, film, Nollywood, that you've seen that look like defining moments and what years were there.
Why do you make a distinction between videography and film? Because that is one of the
because you just said that was part of the problem for the Nigerian Film Corporation.
Yeah, but that has been settled a long time ago. Okay. So for us, film is film.
Right.
Film is that image, that is there. That is film. So it doesn't matter what you use in capturing it. So that's at the national film policy.
Whether it's 16, but whatever.
Yes. And the way technology has come today, you can't make a distinction, really. Properly speaking. So film is film.
It's true.
So if you are talking of the epochs, how the thing has come, and who are those defining the moment.
Yes.
You know, I think
For you,
for me, yes,
because you are not only a hands-on person, you are also, because of your academic.
Yes, I've been in the policy area.
Yeah. So,
yes,
what were the key defining epochs for you?
That sounds like an exam question.
That's what it is.
Studies. So then,
because it's for generations yet to born.
You see, the thing is this: that when you take the celluloid era, at that time, you have filmmakers who really, really made very good films, but they were all trained.
Yeah.
None of them went into it from here. They were all highly trained filmmakers. You know, Ola Balogun, Ramadan Mugu, was this guy who was chairman of the Nigerian Film Corporation. They made very good films.
Yes.
You know, Ogunde himself, Ola Sala,
Yeah.
they made very good films. So if you take the films, that would be one epoch. But the thing about their films was that they knew their audience. The films got to the audience, which you can see because
they understood their audience inside out.
Yes, they understood their audience very well. And one thing they knew again, or maybe they were taught the hard way, was that a film has to be consumed immediately. They learned the hard way. And if you make a film, it doesn't get to the market immediately. Every day that passes, the value decreases. It's not like in the fine arts where, look at Van Gogh.
The more you keep it,
the value
keeps on increasing.
Look at James Joyce with his novels and
Yes.
everything. For film, it has to be immediately consumed. You know, I think that generation learned the hard way because they didn't make it, because the films did not hit immediately. There was so much.
And because, like you said, there was no distribution,
there was nothing
channel for them. They were doing it by themselves. Ogunde and the rest of them, that epoch.
Yes, that they were
not learning the hard way.
The hard way. Those films, you know, because every day the film, you know, if it was not consumed immediately, you lost value. Everything is out. So they learned the hard way. But they were good pioneers, you know, and they understood the audience. Now, if you take those who came after the Ogundes, like I said, it was even the Ogundes who came after the Ogundes. Because what they did was to go into reversal filmmaking.
Yes.
You know, and they kept activities in the industry going before the video this thing came on. And at that time, some very good films were made, but those films had no archival value. It's because they were made on reversal stock.
Yeah.
You know, they would turn to all colors of the rainbow, even when you were exhibiting them. And another thing that the Ogunde people faced was that they could not archive their films, and it was celluloid. You know, so most of them, these films were
big too.
Oh yes, and they were big. They remained, these films remained in London. They were in London where they went to do processing and everything. So it was a big. It was the handicaps against them. Those handicaps were really, you know, they could not really. The advantages were not on their side, but they did achieve something. They left the landmark. Now all those who have come after them, you need to see that there were very big moments after that, and technology helped a lot.
Yeah.
Because, because you see, what then happened was that all those television had trained, the Amaka Igwes, what was them? All of them now came into film.
Yeah.
Checkmate and the rest of them. All these things now came on the screen. And so you had productions like the Rattlesnake and so these were people trained in television. Yes, all those people came on. So these were big moments again. And they became a kind of training ground in the sense that because video was easily accessible, anybody who could have access to a camera became a filmmaker.
Yeah.
So there were many films being made. And that was when the video, the Nigerian industry became a laughing stock. I remember my favorite among the films made at that time in terms of, well, you know why it's my favorite? If the title of this film is Juliet Must Die, but why? So when you take that kind of title, so you begin to imagine the kind of films made at that time, you know. But from such things, you know, like how do you put it now? If you remember, the beautiful ones are not yet born. You say the chichidodo that will eat the maggots that will spring from, you know. And you remember when the man in that novel, when he saw that beautiful flower growing from that dung of shit, you know, beautiful flower.
Yeah.
So that's what we had at that time. These things started coming up, and they were fantastic films, you know. And the consequence of this is that the Nigerian film today has become the template for African filmmaking. So it grew from that period, you know, so that it provided the template. So there are many names you can mention, but my favorite still remains Afolayan, Izu, Ojoku, and the rest of them. People who have made some nice films that when you look at it, you see, yes, technology has been well used to use film. And then again, they understood that film has to be marketed and how it should be marketed. And they have done that very well.
I want to also take a quick look at South African opportunities and experience vis-a-vis Nigeria. For a long time, somehow it seemed as if we were lagging in terms of access to equipment, technology, and funds. Has it improved?
No, it hasn't improved. In terms of accessibility to equipment, that has improved. People are got in Lagos alone. You know how many studios we have in Lagos?
Yes.
So people have gone out of their way
Because
to use their own resources to store their studios. So in terms of the equipment profile, we are doing very well. But these are individual funds. These have been done from individual funding. In terms of whether there is a grant out there, I know that the Bank of Industry is doing a lot, but how many people have access to that? So we have things that are like, you know, a flash in the pan, like the money Jonathan gave to the industry. It was not replicatable, and it was just that, and it went off. Yeah, but when you look at it, it begins to look as if today is better than yesterday, and tomorrow will surely be better than today. Which for me is a very good way to look at it. You know?
So where do you think the Nigerian...
I want to compare it to South Africa.
Yeah, that was comparing.
I don't know whether I should just whisper this to your ear or keep quiet, but you see, the thing is this, that with South Africa, take the South African Something Broadcast Commission. It's well funded, very well funded. The NFC is not funded, so that is one. You know, but we are producing more films ourselves, and because even if you go to South, and put it this way, that when MTN and the rest of them came up, they also, it's simply that we don't have enough policies to address the growth of the industry. See, when MTN came on, for instance, MTN will make the commercial, but go to South Africa to make the commercials.
Yeah.
You know, they go to South Africa.
So that's why I'm raising that comparison, so that we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Because I was bewildered. A company making so much profit in Nigeria will always revert to South Africa. Wow, you see that Professor Ekwuazi is fully loaded and he's been unleashing his wealth of experience on us. I'm sure you want it to all come out on this episode. But this is how much we can take on this episode. Why don't you join us next week so that together we can round up on sharing on the wealth of experience of Professor Hyginus Ekwuazi, who just retired from the University of Ibadan, where he has been teaching and preparing people for the industry of the filmmaking in Nigeria and abroad. Thank you for joining us today, and I look forward to seeing you. Don't forget to click on like, share the video with other people, and also click the subscribe button so that whenever a new episode comes up, you can also be notified. This is our effort to put the Nigerian theater in the front burner, and so that we can bring you up to date on the history of the Nigerian theater in the last 50 years, and so that you can talk authoritatively on this great sector of the Nigerian economy. Until we see you again next week, it's bye from me.